ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FRS Mustang, then sign up for Ford Mustang Club today. With great our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec shifter. The track is one entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Road, Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Bridge, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park.
We might be just about a week late, maybe a day and a half short of being a whole week, but we are finally ready for week number 12, the final broadcast of this season in SimLab Production Car Challenge Racing. Thanks for joining us at Pit Stop TV, albeit a little bit late. We're finally here at the virtual Oran Park and ready to go racing. It has been an interesting week on the sim for sure. Austin Knight and others have commented about how tough this racetrack is going to be, particularly with these four cars, it just ends up being that much extra of a challenge. Let's jump straight into things. Of course, the track map here, Oran Park, it doubles back on itself. You go through the sweeper at turn 1 and Coca-Cola corner at turn number 2, down to Shell Oil corner at turn number 3, and that's where you start to double back around and make the loop back over the Yokohama Bridge in turn number 6. Then you take a right towards Foster's Dip, and you, well, dip down through turns 7 and 8, dropping down into Momo corner at turn number 9, back up towards the O'Brien Dogleg and into Recaro corner. One of the weirdest corners I think you'll find on this entire racetrack, and the track is littered with weird corners. Oran Park is definitely one of the more interesting circuits we see on the sim. A quick look at point standings. You can see Benjamin Roberts comes into today with the advantage, and I think for sure we can consider him our champion this season. We'll see. I don't think anything is really going to change. I don't know how you're going to get 200 points on a guy in one round, but we can't officially say it. We'll unofficially say it. Benjamin Roberts will be your Mustang champion. That said, Marcus Giroc has just 24 points over Jack Johns, and that is a very fluid situation down in Renault Clio competition. Meanwhile, over on the Toyota and Mazda side, things are pretty well split up. Things could change still between Mathis and Richard Zerveld in the Mazda race, and maybe even Jack Veazey could get into things. Those guys might be able to move around a little bit, but I think Nicholas Sudik will have to settle for second or even third place in Toyota racing, considering he has 132 back of Jorge Dominic coming into this week, and Daniel Wareham is just 6 behind him. So it has been one very, very fun season of racing, and I really do thank everybody for supporting us through it. It has been a really, really fun time. Most of the championships are decided. Really, we're looking for that Renault battle, and unfortunately, none of those Renault drivers are in this race. That said, cars are on track, wrapping up qualifying. Got a Toyota still out there on the Motor Speedway, if you will, Oran Park Raceway. Let's take a look at the schedule and how we got here. Alton Park to Oran Park, all the way through the fall and into the winter here of 2023. Through Japan for a couple of rounds at Suzuka and Okayama, Silverstone twice on the schedule, Spa there for a trip to Belgium, even VIR for race number 6, then Willow Springs for week number 8, there we go, then out to the Nürburgring, back over to Summit Point, to Imola a little over a week ago, and now Oran Park this week. Cars are headed to the grid, and as per usual, since we've got the 4 different classes, and gridding them is definitely a challenge, we're going to let the grid go by. This is more or less your qualifying results. So this is in order of how each of these drivers qualified overall. Now, while you look for your favorite driver down at the bottom, let's talk about some weather conditions for this race. 82 degrees in the air, 118 on track, completely clear skies. This is going to be one of the more challenging races of the season, more challenging weeks of the season. And I'm sure at this point, these guys have had, several races to get under their belts and learn what they need from their cars. But this is still really high track temp, 118 degrees. That is not at all something to mess around with. I mean, it's 28 still in the air, Celsius, and we're talking probably about 40 degrees Celsius for track temp. I mean, we can do the quick conversion now down to 117 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Oh, nearly 50. That's 47 degrees Celsius. That's definitely a toasty day in the virtual Oran Park. We're glad you're joining us for it. As we get ready to go racing this afternoon, a big shout out to Barber Ford for being here through the course of this season and allowing us to broadcast these races. It would not be possible without them. We simply would not be here for these broadcasts without Barber Ford. Go ahead and check out barberford.net, www.barberford.net for more information about how you can put yourself in your dream Ford today. There are some really cool holiday deals going on at Barber Ford. We have an ad that plays at the beginning of the broadcast and the end of the broadcast. If you missed that, you can go back in the VOD, or you can watch for the end before we completely shut this broadcast down. Some really cool holiday deals that you definitely, if you're in the market for a brand new Ford or even a used Ford, you'll definitely want to take advantage of. While cars get up to speed and get themselves ready to go racing for 25 minutes, a quick look at our partners here at Pit Stop TV, of course, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, making it happen for us behind the scenes. Out of the final corner and down the front stretch, we're going to kick things off for the final time this season in Production Car Challenge. We are green at Oran Park for 25 minutes. The Mustangs, a very clean start. The Renault's on top of them. The Toyotas further back, double file for the most of the field, and the Mazdas are not far back either. Mustangs into the first corner. Kevin Parrish, second place. Nicholas Mukonos on the outside loses a spot, and we've got crashing. A Renault has taken a crash somewhere. It is Kelly Harden, car number 35, it looks like. No, actually, just coming out of the pit lane. It registered as a crash because of the speed differential, but thankfully no crash there. Now we have a crash. It looks like Chris, no, that's going to be Paulo Segura out in the grass as we double back over the bridge for the first time. Well, catch your breath. Things have calmed down for a half a moment. Gabriel Anselmi leads down in Renault's. Worth taking a look at that number 20 car as they work into the back end of the lap for the first time. Jesus Alarcon, that's going to be an interesting one for me to get right. Jesus Alarcon, first place in Toyotas, moving Nicholas Sudik, one of the most interesting drivers of this season, back down to the 5th position in class. Problems for a couple of cars. Victor Cuoto off course, and now William Pinato in the number 23, slow on the racing surface, collects Vitaly Juice, it looks like, and they get going. Meanwhile, how about our Toyota leader? This guy has been not Toyota leader, overall points leader, there we go, has been absolutely perfect all season long. Only missed a couple of races as far as race wins go. Has absolutely dominated. And in terms of an official series on iRacing.com, you simply can't get much better than what we've seen from Benjamin Roberts this season. An Australian, finally on his home turf here at Oran Park, as there's some dancing in the background off in the gravel traps. Benjamin Roberts has simply shown all of the Americans how to drive a big, heavy V8 stock car, and I think that's impressive. Of course, Australians have maybe a knack for running V8 sports cars around road courses. I mean, V8 supercars, of course. But I still think this is just a little bit something special from Benjamin Roberts, and really is worth taking note of. Really, really, really solid season. Maybe the best we'll see for a long time. Meanwhile, behind it, we've got ourselves a pretty good fight for second place in these Mustangs that we've come to know and love so much this season, thanks to Barbara Ford. Pedro Maestri out of Brazil, right on the back end here of Kevin Parrish. Of course, he has been a big name in Barbara Ford Mustang Club action on Friday evenings throughout the course of the summer and fall of 2023. We still have one race left to go for their series this coming week on December the 8th at Lime Rock Park. You can still join the Barbara Ford Mustang Club. Check out our broadcasts from the past of maybe what you could expect. Brands Hatch was a bunch of fun. Man, these cameras, not quite how that's supposed to work, but anyways. Gabriel Anselmi still leading down in Renault's. We've got ourselves a pretty good fight for second and third in Toyotas. How about Will Coolman? Willie Coolman on the back end of Mario Cuesta. A lot of new names that I have not had to call yet this season, but glad we're getting a bit of variety right here at the back end of the season as far as driver base, as Willie Coolman works here on gotta remind myself, Mario Cuesta for the second place. This is right in front of Benoit Mounier, which is the driver in front of Nicholas Sudik. So that's the way it kind of all stacks up, right? First through fifth is Alarcon, Cuesta, Coolman, Mounier, and Sudik, the top five in Toyotas in this race. We've got ourselves a little Miata battle shaping up as well. If you go back to first and second in Miatas, got a little bit hairy there for the first and second corners for Coolman, but here you go. That's that Miata fight. Anton Turovsky and Vadim Shigilev. That is, I want somebody to give me a better pronunciation, having never seen the name before. That is not, or I guess that is a native English American speaker. I want to see you do better. Problems up ahead. Actually, just a battle up ahead as we're starting to get some flashes from the Toyotas at the Renaults. A position change here. Alejandro Zaggart getting on by Kellyan Camerlo. I like to think I can pronounce some foreign names relatively accurately. These guys are definitely challenging me today. But second and third here in Renaults as the Toyota leader approaches. Jesus Alarcon up the inside. Where are you going, buddy? That was two really weird dive bombs. Now some contact out of the corner, and Willie Coolman had nowhere to fit his car and go by. Jesus loses the lead, falls into second place. Mario Cuesta going to take over at the race lead, and that's some damage to Camerlo's back bumper. It falls off now down to turn one. That'll fall off of the racing line, thankfully, and the Toyotas pack back together once again. First through fourth, under a blanket, Nicholas Sudik, the only Toyota in the top five, not in this fight. That might change soon, as Jesus Alarcon is definitely going to bring the fight right back, I think, to Mario Cuesta. He's clearly got the pace. And for most of the season, I think we've seen these Toyotas live up to the hype that they got when they first dropped in the sim. Everybody, I feel like, was excited to see these cars hit the sim. Some have not been so excited with the result of how they drive, but all season here in PCC, I feel like they have been the most electric class, week in, week out. There's been 1 or 2 weeks where the track hasn't really suited the car, and it's been Mustangs or even Miatas that were a little more exciting, but reliably, you could find good fights down here in Toyotas. Alarcon defensive into the final corner. That's going to force Coolman to look around the outside, now maybe the inside, down the front stretch if he can find enough of a run, as maybe does Cuesta make a move on Zaggart. No, he will not. You're right, a good fight developing here. Whoa! Blocking down the front stretch. That's not exactly kosher. But a couple of Central Europeans fighting really, really aggressively down the front stretch for the lead in Mazdas, and a hit to the wall there for Vadim in second place. That's going to bring Tony Truffet into the fight. Now 3 cars going at it. Couple of really good lead fights. You've got your Toyotas as Mario Cuesta has now gone on by Alejandro Zaggart. That moves the battle back to Jesus Alarcon as they head up to the bridge once more, and Nicholas Sudik has joined this fight as expected. Wide there, though, was Willie Coolman, and up the inside goes Alarcon. That was aggressive, just slides ahead of the Renault Clio. That was a hell of a move, honestly. Jesus has been aggressive at Recaro Corner a few laps ago, but that was a hell of a move. I don't think many could have pulled that off, as now Willie Coolman looks up at Alejandro. That's up the inside big time. 3 wide out of the final corner, and somehow they're getting it sorted out. I don't know how these guys are doing what they're doing between the Renaults and Toyotas, but Sudik is now in the fight. He's second place in the championship. Going to go by Kellyan Camerlo and try to find something here for turns 1 and 2. Oh, and he's going to door Kellyan off of the racetrack, and Sudik flies into turn 2 and takes out a couple of others. The first mistake we've seen out of Nicholas all season long, and it comes at a terrible time for most of the Toyota battle he was facing. That's not how you rejoin. Wow. Props to Chris Rant to the 22 Mazda. That was was interesting. Sudik up the road, finally rejoins, and he's going to take it a little more easy here. That was some really, really interesting stuff. Now we've got ourselves a good fight for the Mazdas. Again, door banging there through Foster's Dip, and you've got a bunch of Toyotas gaining on these guys that they've recently passed. Now, side by side for second, Truffet on the outside, and he gets absolutely moved by Anton Turovsky going straight back on through. That was aggressive for sure. Here comes Victor Cuoto trying to get on by that third place Mazda. A block here into the Recaro corner, and here comes a lunge from Christian Odriozola, and he's going to spin just as soon as I got his name somewhat correct. Let's go back and take a look at
the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today.
There we go.
With great prizes from our
I don't know what I just did. Interesting. I don't know what I just did. I hit a wrong button somewhere. We're going to take a look back finally now. You know, I'm the one that sets this broadcast up, and every once in a while I still hit the wrong button and do things that I myself don't quite understand. Nicholas Sudik, let's bring the reins back in. PCC things are happening both on and off the racetrack. Nicholas Sudik, we finally got the replay queued up. This is a big moment. So the bright yellow number 3 Toyota there, well, that's not the right camera angle. I'm not sure if the Renault came over into him or what, but that just completely messed Nicholas up into the first and second corners and botched everything else up. Here's a look from the blimp. Not the greatest angle. We'll just take a look here. I think the Renault might have turned in a little aggressively, but then Nicholas got off in the dirt, and that is a big, big hit for those couple of cars that he came into. I can't tell whose fault that is. I'm not going to try to place blame officially. But hey, we've got ourselves a Mustang fight. Second and third, not far apart. Pedro Maestri is still not far back off of Kevin Parrish. Kevin, though, hanging on to the second place. Let's look back around the field now as Mario Cuesta has Alarcon joining him back up for the fight for first, and that brings Coleman back in as well. Then, down there in those Miatas that we've talked a little bit about and seen a little bit about, with their driving standards and some door bangs throughout this race, they're back together. Vadim Shigilev? I don't think that's right. Shigilev. Shigilev? Not usually stumped, but when it's Central European, it probably will. Either way, Anton Turovsky, that's a name that I feel like I can get right. Second place, trying to get back up to Vadim, and I feel like he's going to feel slightly wronged in that fight. They were door banging, they were blocking each other, they were both getting aggressive. I don't think either one did anything wrong in that regard, at least no more wrong than the other. A little further back, we've got ourselves a nice little fight in Toyotas. We've got two Toyotas with default paints on top of each other. And how about the Toyota lead fight side by side into the karting section of the course, under the bridge. They're coming back around over the bridge here in a moment. And look at this battle for the race lead. Cuesta inside, Alarcon outside. And Alarcon's going to be on the outside for several apexes. He's going to fall back for sure. And he's going to try and slot in front of Kuhlman. That won't happen. Kuhlman up the inside takes advantage of Alarcon getting sorted out. And that is how it happens at Oran Park. Alarcon's gonna spin. What a catch, but he's still lost everything up front, and he's gonna be slow now in front of several cars approaching. He does eventually pick up pace. And now Coleman is nearly a full second back of Mario Cuesta. That will update across the line as far as who his timing is tracking to. We got ourselves actually a pretty good little fight here in Mazda's True Fit now on Turovsky. Turovsky was very aggressive with True Fit a couple of laps ago, and Tony, I think, trying to take a measured approach at him again. Couldn't quite get it done there. He's going to try again here in turns 1 and 2. A block from Turovsky again. Contact there to the left rear. This isn't going to be pretty, and it's going to send Turovsky off into the dirt. True Fit goes along with him. Ladies and gentlemen, that is why you do not block. That is precisely why you do not block in racing. Turovsky's got a lot of damage. He's off in front of a lot of cars as they come into the picture. And they will sort it out. But Chris Rance, he was that Mazda that went off the racetrack to avoid the Nicholas Sudik incident in turns 1 and 2. He's in the middle of all this, trying to get up to Jan Vidar Skouwen, which would be now for third place, a podium in Mazda's. Well, got ourselves a bit of a race here at Oran Park, and this is the 2:30 Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time slot here today on Sunday, December 3rd. Nose down here for David Fench, as well as David Fernandez. Glad these guys got the message to get in this race. We've seen a lot of them this season, and while they haven't made waves in the point standings, I'm sure they're doing pretty well. I'll have to check, but I'm sure they're doing rather well in their own divisions. I don't think they're Division 1. They might be Division 2. Regardless, they've been very, very consistent. They've run well in these higher SOF time slots. and really have been a pleasure to watch down here on these Mustangs. Very few mistakes, if any, from either of these two Davids this season, and hopefully, if we're able to continue coverage of this series in any shape, form, or fashion, hopefully we see more of these guys in future seasons and future races. Nice little Mazda battle here. Chris Rance, Paulo Segura. It looks like Chris is falling back a bit. Also got ourselves that Toyota lead fight once again. This is into the final corner now, just inside of 10 minutes to go, and Willie Coleman has caught right up to Mario Cuesta. Let's go on board inside the helmet here with Coleman. Bit of a wall scrape there for Coleman. He's setting up for turn 1, maybe turn 2, though. He's going to stay back as the nose drops. Hard on the brakes go both drivers, and out to the curbing there. Cuesta's being very aggressive, but doing it cleanly here, trying to hang on to the race lead. Coleman out wide, going to try and set up for an over-under. Doesn't quite work out. Some very aggressive and questionable blocking, but not between these two here today, as Ariel Nicolak? Yes, Nicolak, I think, is approaching these two. And now a battle in Mustangs, a car off, actually. Pedro Maestri was running third place and now goes off of the racetrack and loses that third position, will fall back closer to fifth. And here's Nicholas Sudik trying to get back through the field. He is down in 10th by class position. Meanwhile, problems for Willie Coleman. He's gone off track, it looks like. You can't keep up with 4 classes very easily. Let's take a look back at what happened to Coleman. Was right on the back bumper of Mario Cuesta. It looks like it's going to involve this slower car here, I think. Yeah, this slower Renault. Oh, back on the racetrack, and that's unfortunate for both of those drivers. That's going to give, though, Ariel Nicolak a great opportunity to take a look at maybe the Toyota race win. On board with Ariel, well, it's on board with Mario. Here's on board with Ariel. Very close all of a sudden to Cuesta. This could be a good little fight for the race lead. Cuesta got sideswiped there by the number 35 of Kelly Harden. That was that slow Renault that has now taken to the pit lane via a tow. Definitely some certified advanced Mazda racing between the Mazdas, so we can go back down to that class, as we've got a pack of them. 4 deep, it looks like. Scowen in third, down through Rance in sixth, and Rance has definitely been falling back, slowing down as this race goes on, but not for third and fourth. Scowen over Paulo Segura. This is going to be a good little fight, I think. And they've got a couple of Toyotas that they're closing in on. And I think they've got a lapped Anton Turovsky just ahead of him as well. That would be correct. Into the final corner there, a move from Paulo Segura trying to get that third place away, and he will get it, and brings Vitaly Juice along with. One of the more unique names I've ever said in a broadcast. Block there from Juice out of turn 1. That's going to make Scowen have to look outside into turn 1. Now maybe on the inside, he's going to door Chris Rance into the grass. Oh boy. Mazdas are going to Mazda. Gotta love it. I really do. Benjamin Roberts there in the background. He's joining the back end of the Mazda field now, trying to put them a lap down. That's number 25 of Chris Vrazilov, I think. Apparently, this is the popular Eastern European split. A whole lot of names that I can't pronounce. Inside of 6 minutes to go, Benjamin Roberts going to make that lap. No, he's going to get hit by the Mazda. And I think that Mazda just disqualified itself. Oh, boy. I love Mazda Miatas. Well, I have to get a replay of that. Sometimes you just have to take a moment and laugh. This is that moment with the Mazda. Benjamin's doing everything right, and that Mazda comes across the back end, the back bumper, and that is a disqualification, unfortunately, and maybe a lesson learned. Sometimes you just have to take a moment and laugh a little bit. But hey, Toyota battle. This is going to be fun. Mario Cuesta and Ariel Nicolak. I think if Ariel can just kind of cool himself down, cool the tires down, this would be a good fight for the race win. And Willie Coleman is not far back. Maybe he can draft up here and help second place Ariel Nicolak get up to fight for the race win, and we could have a 3-car race. Maybe. This car is real sketchy through turn 1 into turn number 2. That braking zone really demands a lot from the race car. Really demands a lot from the suspension to hang on in that moment when you're shifting weight so aggressively around. And demands a lot from the tires as well. Of course, it's down through gears. The rear axle is kind of going through some changes. A bit of a flash there from Ariel in the second place. I think just trying to rattle Mario Cuesta a little bit, but Mario's been fantastic since taking over the race lead. Let's see, started 9th. Unfortunately, that doesn't help me with class position, but I believe he started 2nd in class and is up into, of course, the class race lead. I've actually started 3rd because all 6 of our Mustangs rather are on the racetrack and have had no major issues. Here we go. This should be fun down the front stretch. These 3 Toyotas getting closer and closer together. A flash there from Ariel in 2nd place. Once again, very demanding turn 1. Contact there. It's going to send Cuesta off into the dirt. Position change by force. And Nicolak will take over position number 1. We should have been doing Sunday afternoons all along. This has been a very dramatic day. Big contact just sends the number 4 Cuesta off into the dirt. And that was rather large as far as contact goes in road racing. Boom! Great save from Mario to keep the car under control and not make that worse than it needed to be. That was rather impressive for sure. He's now got Jesus Alarcon on the back end of him, and these 2 drivers were very aggressive with each other earlier in the race, but hopefully, considering it's now for 3rd and 4th, it won't be quite as spirited of a battle, and they can get to the end of this race cleanly. They've each got some incidents now. Although, here comes Alarcon maybe down the front stretch, looking left, now looking right, as there's a block here from Cuesta. Going to make it a little more difficult here to turns 1 and 2. Side by side they go. Alarcon on the outside, going to have the advantage into the corner, and Cuesta runs him off. These guys are absolutely wild. Alarcon frustrated for sure. Cuesta comes over. Oh my gosh. These guys are insane. We have not seen racing like this on Monday evening as the third time slot in. Here's Nicholas Sudik getting by William Vo, and I know there's a way to pronounce that last letter. Somebody can fill me in maybe, but minute 18 to go. Not the biggest deal. Regardless, it's not in the English language. I'm not familiar enough with it. I gotta familiarize myself for sure. But Nicholas Sudik now into the 9th position in class. Rough day for him. Not going to help him out very much in the points. As Alarcon now gets back up to Cuesta. And that's going to be a fight for sure in turn 1. Alarcon trying to hang on to the race car. And here's Willie Coleman. Go down the front stretch into turns 1 and 2. We are coming up to the final lap. Roberts has not taken the white flag just yet. Here comes Alarcon now to turn 2. Going to stay inside. Now looks out. He's going to do it clean, it looks like, if he's going to do it at all. Now looking for an over-under. and Cuesta is staying very, very defensive. Meanwhile, Benjamin Roberts down the front stretch will take the white flag. Brought to you by Whiplash SimCams, the final time this season in a broadcast. Still plenty of time slots left to go this week, but it's the final time in one of our broadcasted time slots that Benjamin Roberts takes the white flag and will take us around Oran Park one final time. He's got enough points at this point to hang on to that championship across all divisions, but most notably Division number 1 in Ford Mustang Racing in Production Car Challenge this season. That will complete 2023 for Production Car Challenge. And finally, you see a battle wound on that number 1. You don't see that very often. Cuesta and Alarcon are on the final corner. What's more, Alarcon loses it. That is not the first time that number 5 has gone around today. Willie Coolman now, still a little ways back of Ariel Nikolak. That will stay as it was. The other two race leaders in Mazda and Renault are far enough away from second place. This is where our attention goes. Benjamin Roberts, we followed him all season long in the main time slots on Monday evening after the week would switch. Now here on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening for him, he wins down under, and I think will confirm himself as our champion in about 36 more hours. Pete Loops, you definitely missed an interesting race, a very dramatic race, as here's our Toyota battle for the final few corners. Got ourselves that dog leg and then the Recaro corner for Willie Coolman to try and take away this race win. He's got an opportunity here into the final corner. Will he go for the send? No, he's going to stay back, and Willie Coolman, I think, will settle for the second place to Ariel Nikolak in a really, really tantalizing Toyota GR86 fight. Cuesta will come through for third ahead of Leon. I'm not going to go through one more bad pronunciation this race. We'll just let that one sit. As here's a block from a Toyota. I'm not sure what that's about from Victor Cuoto, but Gabriel Anselmi comes across the line and takes the win in Renaults, and so does Vadim Shigilev, just ahead of Anselmi in that Renault. Congratulations to all class winners. Nice little fight here in Mazdas. Paulo Segura hangs on to third place. A lot of cars falling victim to earlier crashes. Anton Turovsky, while he was in one, does still come across the line and park it there in turn 1. And here is your Mustang overall champion, Benjamin Roberts. So many wins this season. And that's going to be the best of wins, I think. The one round we have, the 1 week we have at an Australian track, and the Australian, of course, shows up. We'll, of course, take a look back at our unofficial race results, and I think those should be relatively official. Not much will change, if anything. But let's take a look here as Benjamin Roberts takes the win. Kevin Parrish second place. A quiet day for Kevin there in second. Didn't have Fabian to play around with in this race, unfortunately, but still had a little bit of fun and hung on to second place as all of the Mustangs come through within 20 seconds. Fench and Fernandez had themselves a nice little race there in 5th and 6th. The Toyota battle, man, that was fun. Ariel Nikolak comes through over 20 seconds back of the Mustangs and wins in Toyota GR86 Racing. Willie Coolman, though, almost had every opportunity you could have asked for, but that damage that he sustained from other drivers made it a little bit difficult. Mario Cuesta got sent off by Ariel Nikolak, and I'm sure that will be a very, very frustrated driver, I would say. Rightfully so, for sure. Between those two, that battle got a little bit aggressive there at the end of the race. But hey, that is Production Car Challenge Racing. Take a look at the rest of 11th through 20th. Of course, Jesus Alarcon has to settle for 11th position. That's 5th in class. Vadim Shigilev, I hope that's close. I think I'm mixing kind of a Spanish and Russian spin on that. I don't know. But Gabriel Anselmi, we know that name. He goes 13th and takes the Renault win. As you take a look at the rest of the field. And sure enough, we have got our Mustang champion this season, Benjamin Roberts, with another race win under his wings. Benjamin, we've talked to you so many times this season. Finally, one last time for season number 4. You come out here and dominate in this very delayed broadcasted time slot, and you finally have a battle wound, a battle scar to show for it. What happened there with that Mazda towards the end? And I think the broadcast is coming back now. I think we're back. Do you hear me? You're very quiet from me for some reason. I'm trying to figure that part out. But we just had a whole internet conundrum for a moment. Go ahead and talk again, Benjamin. Trying a little bit. Go one more time. Very, very quiet. But I can turn music down. I think we can roll with it. People just have to turn their volumes up, and I'll even turn my mic volume down for a moment. Regardless, Benjamin, really, really solid season. We talked about it pretty much all season long. All of your wins stacking up, and I think it's pretty easy to say that with a 200-point lead coming into the week, you're probably, I think safely we can say, our champion this season. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it does feel really good. I worked hard to practice all the week going in race. So to be champion second time, yeah.
And we didn't see you have to go through too many big battles this season. You had pace from the get-go, but that changed. That Mazda towards the end, what happened there?
Mic should be better now. Yeah, just I guess it wanted to get itself disqualified, and just gave me no room after the bridge and just turned in on me.
Mike is definitely better. Very, very loud there, so I apologize to headphone users, but that's all good. Yeah, it was a very odd moment, but hey, you got on through just fine. Maybe incidents for one of the first times all season long, at least that we've seen. How's the racing been at Oran Park? We've seen some chatter about it in Discord, some concerns over turns 1 and 2, and I think those are definitely valid with some of the racing further back in the pack.
Yeah, I did a race yesterday and got turned around at the start of a race. It's not sort of so bad for Mazdas. It's really difficult for the Mustangs coming up on lap traffic, and even the 8.6 is trying to get past the Clios at the start. Clios aren't really that quick here, so it's sort of, yeah, it gets pretty awkward at times because there's not a lot of room to pass.
Well, Benjamin, we were just glad to join you along the way this season in pure domination. Thanks for your time all season long. Thanks for going out there and winning all those races. You are truly number one, Benjamin. Good to talk to you once again.
Thanks very much, Andrew.
Benjamin Roberts with about a 2,000 iRating advantage or so over many of these drivers, if not most of them. Congratulations to him. We do have a couple other drivers, of course, your usual suspects in Kevin Parrish now joining us. Second place this afternoon. That's weird to say, usually this evening. But Kevin, second place. Another solid race for you. I think a little bit of drama for a little while as you had to fend off Nicholas there for second. How did that go? Well, I see that Kevin is trying to talk. Kevin, I'm not hearing you. Well, as I think Kevin's trying to sort out his mic, we at least know that he went through this race and started third, grabbed a spot pretty quickly on, I believe it was Pedro Maestri that he had to battle for that spot initially. Hung on to it. Definitely was not without a little bit of drama and battle. And Kevin, do you hear me?
I hear you. Do you have me now?
There we go. We do.
Awesome. Sorry, we did a big computer reset. First off, how are you feeling?
You know, the neck is sore, but thankfully there were no Dodge Chargers in this race, so I didn't have to worry about that in my mirror. Regardless, Kevin, good to see you, of course, in another one of these races. Really solid, consistent as always, and I'm sure that was probably, I would say the trend for most of the week, but it also sounds like you guys have gone through a very interesting week just to get to this point.
Yeah, I just had a good battle with Pedro there. It's actually the second one this week that we've had a nice battle, and I get to put on a little defensive driving clinic to try to hold him behind me because he is a bit faster than me. So it's been a fun, interesting week.
It's definitely been a fun, interesting week, in more ways than one. But hey, Kevin, we've got ourselves the Barbara Ford Mustang Club coming up later this week once the official racing finally comes to a close for this season 4 in 2023. We're going to Lime Rock Park just after the big 2024 season 1 build. Might change a few things, and we are getting that full vegetation model at Lime Rock, I think, later this week as well. That's got to be fun. I mean, Lime Rock Park, a very difficult racetrack to go to in any race car, faster than a Pontiac Solstice. These guys, these Mustangs, definitely have some troubles getting around some of those corners. How do you feel for it?
It's one of my favorite tracks. I love coming up over the crest of the hill and getting light and having to throw a little counter steer in there. Definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, the new scenery should just be a bonus.
Well, Kevin, congratulations on a season well done. A lot of really solid, consistent finishes. And while Benjamin Roberts might have been the best, you certainly were in the conversation all season long. And it has been fun for sure. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being so good in this car. We'll see you Friday.
No, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. And we'll definitely see you guys around. We got more coming.
Absolutely. Kevin Parrish, car number 9 today, but second place in Mustang racing. Nicholas Sudik. Now, this, I think, might be the lowest we've heard Nicholas Sudik. But Nick, definitely an interesting race out there. We haven't seen many races like that for you, with mistakes here and there, more so on other drivers. That Renault kind of blindsiding you early in the race. What happened?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're bound to have some bad races, and I've been thankful to have some really, really, really good ones all season long, and then, you know, just in the finale, kind of tanked, but you know, it's a little heartbreaking. Let's see. We'll talk about the Clio first. Yeah. So we hit traffic, and you know, respectfully, he was you know, slowing some of the pack down, and we all got bunched back together, which happens. You know, it's traffic. It's multi-class racing. I understand. So I went for a clean pass. And then he came right back the next lap on the last turn and just absolutely sent it on me from like 3 car lengths back. And the Clios don't have ABS. If he locks up, I'm dead. We're dead. So, you know, whatever. All right, fine, whatever. He's ahead of me. So I'm like, okay, I have turn in on the next turn. I can just stay beside him. It's fine. He just turns into me. He just turns into me. And then I'm out of control at that point. I end up hitting Benoit, and I feel terrible for that, because Benoit had a car that could have won. I had a car that could have won, especially with the race pace, even with the damage. But no, just the whole thing, the whole theme of the race. Excuse me. It was, can I clear myself, and can I turn in on somebody and make them chicken? That was all the overtaking I saw, and that was absolutely disrespectful for a top split race with people that are 4 and 5K plus. Like, I'm actually very annoyed by that, because some of these drivers are very high quality, and I've raced with them in other splits. That's ridiculous, though. Like multiple people in multiple classes have that happen. You cannot clear yourself. You cannot just turn into somebody lap after lap after lap. And like I said, that's what happened with the Clio. That's what happened a couple other times too. When I was trying to charge back through the field, I think we had a couple bumps here and there too. And it's just, yeah, it's just frustrating, Andrew. And you know, I feel bad for Team Watson Racing, and it's all good. Like I said, it was still a good season. Like second and third in points happens, but I can't get over that. Like, you're in a 3K plus split for this class, and you have elementary rookie level moves happening. It's just uncalled for, and if that's how people are going to race in this time slot, so be it. Let them have at it, but that's not my cup of tea. I want to eventually drive a real car someday, so I try to apply a little bit of that real world race. So, anyways, sorry, that's my bit. Go on. I'm sure you have another question for me, Andrew.
I think some of the frustrations definitely granted, definitely a little bit of contact in some moments where you just kind of have to sit back and laugh and appreciate that it's a simulator. But, you know, talking about some of the driving standards, I think we can throw out the fact that it's week 12, because while week 13 is less than 2 days away, maybe that affects some of these guys. The average iRacer isn't really considering the fact that it's week 12. A lot of you guys are in here for points, a lot of you guys aren't. I think the average driver, maybe because it's a higher split, maybe the average driver in this race is worried about it, but I highly doubt it. Do you think it's maybe the racetrack, a product of the racetrack, the higher track temperatures? I mean, do you have an idea of what it might be to keep you from going on a whole lecture? Just maybe an idea?
Yeah, keep it simple. Just anxiousness, probably. You know, people that know each other a lot, especially that race at this time slot in time slot in particular. As opposed to like our normal NA broadcast, you know, they know each other, but it was just, there's aggression and there's over aggression, and I think with just the closeness of the pace, people thought that they had to be completely over aggressive, and you know, that just happens, and it's like you said, it's sim racing. You know, we don't have to pay the thousands of dollars for the fenders and the dampers and all that jazz, but you know, ultimately it's just the game. It means a lot to me, but you know, it's a game, but the racing's, what's that phrase that Premium Broadbent uses? The racing is real, the cars aren't real, but the racing is. I think that's a good way to frame it. Just people might have just gone a little bit over the edge there and just made it not quite as fun for some of the other drivers. So, yeah, no, but it's all good. Successful season though. Second, third, and overall in the championship. Can't complain about that. Yeah, I appreciate you guys bringing it.
Absolutely appreciate you guys being so good on the racetrack. And, you know, let's end this on a higher note, Nick. Let's forget about the racing we just went through. We've got a build coming in about 2 days, less than that now. Tuesday morning for us in the States. We're getting a big old build, a lot of changes, not so much content, but what are you excited for? Because there is some content coming in the build. Mugello is going to be, I think, a lot of fun to add to the iRacing.com service for sure. A couple of tracks, and even that new Audi R8 GT3 Evo. What are you particularly looking forward to the rest of this week?
Mugello's a big favorite of mine. I loved it in like Forza Motorsport 4. I think 3 or 4, way back when I was in college. I love the track, and other simulators too. Like, that's a fantastic track. I'm really looking forward also to, so I don't know if you know this, Andrew, but originally I'm an IndyCar person, and I am actually originally an oval specialist more than anything. So the oval changes across the platform with both stock cars and all the cars alike are going to be good. It's going to be some much needed tweaking that's going to need. I'm sure it's not going to be over. There's going to be probably some mid-season tweaking as well. It always happens when there's a big like tire model change or track evolution change, stuff like that. But I think those are the biggest things that stand out. The new Audi is just further emphasizing the focus on how big sports car racing is now too. And then, you know, not only with the patches, but just seeing other leagues and organizations introducing some stuff I'm interested to as well. Just looking forward to next year in general. So yeah, I mean, you will see me around in some capacity, I'm sure. Doing whatever, just trying to become more of a jack of all trades more than anything.
Well, it's definitely been a good season of talking to you, Nicholas, and hopefully we see you a bit more in 2024 season number 1 and beyond. It has been a pleasure talking to you through season 4 of this season. Congratulations. It definitely, I think, is a really successful season, as you said, and hopefully we see more of that bright yellow Toyota or whatever car in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew.
Nicholas Sudik, definitely a valued part of this championship, and all of you guys really have been valued that have stuck with us this season and more. Even the ones that are here for a couple of races or what have you. Anybody who has supported this broadcast, thank you. It has been a pleasure through the course of 2023, season number 4. We don't know yet if we're coming back for season number 1 of 2024. It's going to happen very quickly if it does. But regardless, thank you guys. It has been a very, very fun season. And to close things out here at the oh-so-tumultuous Oren Park Raceway, certainly was a pleasure. As we mentioned earlier, check out Barbara Ford at www.barbaraford.net. I know a lot of you guys, for the most part, probably 95 or more percent of you guys are not necessarily in the criteria that would fit a Barbara Ford customer, but what you can do is support those who support racing. And I think this is where it really becomes important for us to do that, right? This is a group that put aside some dollars realistically to get these races broadcast and sent out to the masses, at least available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Kick. So what you can do is support those who support racing, who support these broadcasts. At least go and look up Barbara Ford on Facebook, on social media. Check them out. Give them some website traffic. Support those who support racing. It's a small thing. While you guys realistically are not going to be buying a Ford from Dustin Slider or Barbara Ford, you can go support those who support us. We have more coming up later today, in fact. Not just this week, but later this evening, we head out to the LA Memorial Coliseum for the Icon Off-Season Mixed Mini-Series. 7:45 Eastern, we kick things off with legend cars on that quarter-mile oval inside of the LA Coliseum for, I believe, 180 laps. A staggering lap count with these cars. Pit stops for sure will be a big part of the evening. Make sure to tune in this evening at 7:45. And then the rest of this week, we head out to Iowa Speedway just hours after the iRacing build hits. Then Friday, it's out to Lime Rock Park with the Mustangs at Barbara Ford and some new vegetation there along the sides of the pavement. Thanks for watching this season. It has been a pleasure and really has been a very, very fun opportunity for us to cover this series throughout the course of 2023, season number 4. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting us and supporting those who support us. Have a fun week 13. It's coming up in about a day and a half. When it'll begin. In fact, less than that now. A day and 6 hours, so a day and a quarter, I suppose. Week 13 begins. A lot of new content. Then we'll hit the next morning, Tuesday morning. Make sure to grab some of that and have some fun this week. It's going to be exactly that, a bunch of fun. Some big changes coming to the sim with some graphics and such. Read up on the forums. Otherwise, big thank you to Barbara Ford and Dustin Slider for making this happen. You just saw him, actually. Let's bring that back up. Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, and others for making these broadcasts possible. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. We've had Austin Knight on some of these broadcasts. We've had Zach Murdish for some of them, and there might be even another name or two that I'm missing. But thank you so much for watching. It has been a very fun, very fun season. Hopefully, we'll see you all in 2024. But otherwise, make sure to keep up here with Pitstop TV. We'll see you next time.
If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barbara Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.